So to log in, enter your username and password and click on Sign On. Now this takes you to the list of tools that you individually have been provisioned to access. And as Carrie mentioned, much like you log into, say, Workout Prospector, you are instead going to log into Resolve by clicking on Open to the right of Resolve. Let's go back to Submissions. And this is where you'll be able to upload your workout submissions if it's an FHA, VA, or rural housing modification settlement request, a forbearance extension request, a short sale request, or the newer retention options that we're working on now, as Carrie shared with us, that'll be available as early as December 5th of this year. Let's click on retention. Each one will have its own upload submission page. So now we're on the upload retention submissions page. And notice you have a retention loan file template. So no matter which upload submission page you're on, you'll have a unique template. So let's click on that template. You'll see the data fields that Freddie Mac is asking for that file that you're going to submit for the retention file. And one of the great things about Resolve is we took the opportunity to really streamline the data to just require key data from our servicers. So we reduced that by probably at least half. Now with that template, you want to save that to your desktop or your local area network, and you're going to use that template to create the file you wish to upload, as Carrie shared, for even up to 100 loans per file. Now you have some parameters you want to keep in mind when you're creating your file and then getting ready to upload it. Only one file can be uploaded at a time. There are file size, format, and actual file name requirements that are also listed you want to make sure to be aware of when you're getting ready to create and then upload your file. Now, once you've created your file, you can browse from your computer or drag and drop the file here. Let's go ahead and browse. We'll select our file, and then we'll click on Open. And from here, we see the file name that we've selected, the file format, the file size, and then this trash can icon. Now, if this wasn't the file you meant to select, you can click on that trash can and, of course, rebrowse for that file. Let's go ahead and proceed with this file by clicking on Next. And ideally, you would see the submission details page with a green data validation metro stop, meaning there were no errors with the records on that file. Now, in this case, we have an orange data validation metro stop that has been added, and that's because we see one of the records are unable to be submitted due to errors. Now, the great thing here is you have a report you can easily download, and that's going to highlight the errors for you in yellow. So see, we're missing a hardship reason type, so clearly identified for you. And all the way to the right, you'll also see applicable error messages. So now what do we do? Well, you have some options, and that's a great thing about Resolve. You've got flexibility because you can take this information, correct the source file because we haven't submitted it yet. You can correct the source file and re-upload that file. Or we can proceed with this file and only 6 of the records are able to be submitted, and we can go back and submit that one loan, correct that separately, and upload that later. So let's go ahead and proceed with the 6. Click on Submit, and Resolve is just going to show you a pop-up box that one of the 7 have errors. We know that. We saw that on the download report. And if you don't correct the errors, the loan records will not be processed. So if we click on Proceed Without Correcting, we see here that 6 of the 7 will be uploaded. And to complete the upload, click on Submit. Now you see a Confirm Servicer Agreement pop-up box. This is where you're confirming that the data provided via Resolve complies with the requirements of the Freddie Mac Single Family Seller Servicer Guide. And any misrepresentation or falsification of the submitted data may lead to the request being denied. Let's click on Confirm and Submit. And then you'll see a successfully uploaded message that indicates, yes, 6 of the loans from our file were uploaded successfully. Let's click on OK, and we'll go back to our dashboard, and we'll see that our results are uploaded here and updated to include those 6 loan records. You'll see over to the right the applicable status for each. So just as Carrie mentioned, that can be seconds to process those loan records. Of course, a larger file may take a few more seconds, right? Okay, so what we want to do now is take a look at a couple of examples. So as a reminder, the October 12th bulletin announced some functionality would be available in December, and then we would add more functionality in the first quarter of 2023. So for December 5th, for your modifications, you'll be able to submit a draft request, a trial period approval request, and even a cancellation request should you need that. So starting with the loan number here that ends in 14, notice that it says eligible for draft. We have another one, loan number 13. Now this one says approved for trial period. Let's click on that loan number and we'll be taken to the workout details screen where, yes, we see it's approved for trial period. You have some summary information, borrower profile information. And here we see workout terms, both current and post-workout terms. Let's scroll a little further down. And you see our workout messages that, yes, indicate the loan is approved for a COVID-19 flex modification trial period plan. So if the borrower does accept and enters into the trial period plan and is successful, well, then the next step would be to submit a workout approval. Again, following a successful trial period plan. Now, workout approval and submitting for settlement, those are the two requests that are coming in the first quarter of 2023. So stay tuned for that. All right, let's go back to our dashboard and we'll look at another example. And so this time we're going to look at a loan that was ineligible for a trial period, the loan that ends in 11. Let's click on that one. And then when we get to the workout details screen, we'll see, yes, it is ineligible for a trial period. We'll scroll past the borrower profile, down to the workout terms, both current and post-workout terms. Notice here that we have a principal and interest or P&I increase. Let's scroll further down and look at the workout messages. And we do have a fatal error message saying the modification results in a P&I increase. So that is making it fall outside of the eligibility requirements. And notice the informational message that goes with that, saying it's not eligible for a flex modification. So what you want to do, as the message says, resubmit the corrected information as needed. So you want to review the data that you submitted. And if there is an error, go back through the submissions path to resubmit your workout request. If, however, you find out that no, there was not a data error, well, then you want to look at it to see if it makes sense to submit for an exception review. Is this a payment increase that the borrower is able to meet? And so you want to consider submitting it for an exception review. Now, the nice thing is there are two different ways you can do that. And that's what I love about Resolve. You've got flexibility. You can go back and resubmit this request, and this time indicate that you're submitting it as an exception review. There's an exception review indicator on the file. Go ahead and put that yes. And then you would also include in the comments your recommendation why we should consider approving this exception request. Or, since we're already on the workout detail screen, you can click on that request exception review action button, and you'll see a pop-up box that says, are you sure? Enter your comments and recommendation on why we should consider this exception review, and then click on Confirm Submit. You'll see a success pop-up box that indicates the loan is successfully submitted for an exception review for trial period approval. Click on OK, and we'll be brought back to the dashboard. And we'll see that the status for this has now been updated. So here's our loan number 11. And notice that it says submitted for review. That means it's been submitted for exception review. Notice our little people icon that indicates that as well. So what do you do now? Well, this request is now being reviewed by a Freddie Mac analyst, and that will be decision. And so that you can come back to your dashboard, use that filter by, pull up that loan to get the latest status. You will also be able to click on refresh and get the latest update as well. Okay. Another tip is the Servicing Gateway bell icon. If you have a notification because the status has been updated, the number of notifications will increase. So you have multiple ways to keep updated on the status. So in this case, we've taken a look at an example of a trial period approval, submitting for an exception request, exception review request. And you also have the ability to cancel a request. For example, if you had this request that says ineligible for draft, if that was done in error, you can also go back in and cancel this request as needed. That's the functionality, remember, that's available December 5th. So let's go ahead and take a sneak peek at what's going to be available for the first quarter of 2023. So here's an example of loan number 12 that shows approved for settlement. So let's go ahead and click on loan number 12, get to the workout details screen, and we will take a look at what happens when a loan has been approved for that workout. So what's happened is loan number 12 has successfully completed a trial period plan. The servicer submitted the workout approval because following a successful trial period plan, that would be the next submission. So remember, this is coming in the first quarter of 2023. So let's assume the workout approval is approved. Let's scroll down. Here's our current and post-workout terms. And we'll scroll further down and we see that the loan is approved for a flex modification. You want to review the final modified terms and proceed to settlement by submitting a settlement request. So remember, there's multiple ways to submit your request. We could go in and submit the settlement request by uploading a file, either a standalone file, or you can commingle loans with different requests on a single file. We could do it that way. Or since we're on the workout details screen, you have the ability to submit a settlement request right here on the workout details screen. So let's click on that. And you'll see the settlement request pop-up box displays. Now, you have the signed docs received date that will display the current date. Now, to select a prior date, just go ahead and use the calendar icon and then click on Submit. A confirmation will show and confirm the signed docs received date you are submitting. And then you have an attestation that indicates that you will represent and warranting that the information and the data that you have submitted is complying with the Freddie Mac Single Family Seller Servicer Guide and any applicable purchase documents. Okay, from there, you're going to click on Confirm and Submit. You'll see a success pop-up box that indicates your settlement request was submitted successfully. Click OK. And notice our status is updated to approved for settlement. So what's going to happen is, like any other Freddie Mac modification, there's an overnight process. And then what would happen is the next business day, you should see that move to a closed status. So let's go back to our dashboard. So again, what we wanted to do is just give you a sneak peek of what we're working on with the Resolve user interface, what's coming December 5th, and also remember what's being updated, but not until the first quarter of 2023.